So a while back, I mentioned that when students show up in my office, one of the first things they do is just say, whoa. And somebody had suggested, hey, why don't you post a video of what's going on in the office? So why don't I take you on a tour? There is a lot to take in when you first show up. There's all sorts of stuff on the walls and different gadgets to try out, different things on the shelves. Set up the new desk. The office is ready for the fall, including, of course, the disco button. We've got a levitating Grogu, a talking Groot.
I'm Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot.
Magic 8-Ball Yoda. Hey Yoda, am I gonna have a good day tomorrow?
Yes.
Thanks. And his right hand gives some information that's sort of related to class and visiting my office.
Hungry are you? Skittles you may have.
There's the Nixie Tube clock. There's native fruit neotrellis. If students celebrate a job or grad school, they get to press the Yahoo button. I was once imprisoned in carbonite. Like Han Solo, I've been known to wear the Mad Eye on Halloween on occasion. Also, this is the Neon Baldwin. I flip him over when I'm not here, so he's sort of a reverse bat signal. This is the Hockey Gnome. You may or may not know that Boston College has one of the best hockey teams in the nation, and he's holding the Infinity Mirror. Also, students gave me some awesome sauce. Hack you must. I'm also super fortunate to have one of the most beautiful views on campus. That's Gasson Tower, the Boston College signature building. This is the Sparkle Scarf. You can use the Blue Fruit app to change colors and animate it. The students call these the lucky chairs because so many young entrepreneurs that have been successful have sat in these seats. Here's a gallery of just a few of the students started. At least 3 student businesses that have become unicorns. Drizzly was one of them, sold a Uber for $1 billion. We Pay here, that Chase bought them for 9 figures. And Whimsy later became known as Sync on Set. They won a technical Emmy and they were sold. Jebbit is another one that's thriving here in Boston. Not everyone was a success, though. I got computer.com up here to remind my students that early on in my career, one of my students took their class projects, their graduate class project, raised enough money to run 3 Super Bowl ads, but alas, the business was gone in about 9 months. There's the pets.com sock puppet to remind you that entrepreneurship can be a challenge. If you're lucky, you're a fan of Silicon Valley, you know, Tres Comas tequila. We'll have a sip of that if you hit unicorn status. Speaking of Silicon Valley, before D-Boy did the intro sequence to Silicon Valley, he did this poster for Yahoo that I picked up at headquarters when I brought my students there. We've sent some students to the MIT Media Lab where this saying is very famously taking classes there is like drinking from a fire hose. And my students tend to say that about my classes as well. So one of my students gave me a fire hose. Lots of Russian stuff here because I used to work in the former Soviet Union. The last year there was a Soviet Union. And this is Budь Готов, which is be prepared for the young Komsomols, which is sort of like the Soviet Cub Scouts. But I've surrounded it with symbols of American capitalism. All these corporate headquarters I brought my students to visit. There's a stamp featuring Marx and Lenin from Ossetia, but a different kind of Marx and Lenin that you would normally get in this former Soviet republic. So there's no reason for me to have my degrees on my wall. Everybody knows that I got a PhD. Instead, I try to put images that will inspire my students. So one of my personal heroes is Lamore Freed, who is the first female engineer on the cover of Wired. We buy lots of stuff from Ada Fruit, so her covers are here. Jay, who is an awesome roboticist. Joy Buolamwini, the founder of the Algorithmic Justice League. Simone Yates, who's an awesome engineer. I went to Boston College with Eric Weinmeier, who was on the cover of Time magazine. He's the first person to scale the 7 continental largest peaks, and he's also blind. There's me with Steve Jobs and Sir Johnny Ive. Back when I didn't have a beard, I looked like a Paul Giamatti stunt double. I had my students at lots of cool places like Google headquarters. I ran the Tech Track Ghana program with the wonderful entrepreneurs at MEST in Accra, Ghana. Apple kindly named me a distinguished educator, and people seem to like my textbook. It's nice to get an award for that. Some images of the wonderful family, of course, with also a number of my wonderful former students. I created a bunch of inspiring posters. Students do indeed dare mighty things, and they are most definitely hackers. Been in nearly 60 countries, and I try to pick up a Starbucks mug from the foreign cities that I visit. I've been a Macintosh developer since 1984. This is the original, actually the pre-sale version of Inside Macintosh, the original Mac documentation. It's a real This is a bit of a museum of old computing technology. You can see the You Got Mail AOL CD back there, along with an H-inch floppy disk, some old iPads and iPhones, an MP3 player. This is Tetris in the shape of a chicken McNugget that was given at Chinese McDonald's. My daughter made me the Women in NASA Lego set. You can earn a sticker, one of the first AI-powered toys, a bunch of different boards. One of my jobs that helped pay for college was selling Macs at the Computer Pros in Wayne, New Jersey. The original square, some Amazon buttons, the Amazon wand, and I was a customer of Amazon during their first year, so they sent these mouse pads out to everybody that was one of their first-year customers. Lots of cool places that I've traveled, many of these places with students. And there's a little animation for stuff that our students use in class, including Arduino, Excel, Swift, Adafruit, and Raspberry Pi. A bunch of different things for students to try out. We got little sliders here so you can check out how RGB works, and some potentiometers. You can dial them up and dial them down. And all sorts of different buttons to play with. Some capacitive touch to try out. See different types of things that fit them. Got all sorts of materials here. This is an interactive map of Boston College, and 245 Beacon Street is where the Schiller Center is, and this is one of my favorite quotes from Phil.
Can't innovate anymore, my ass.
So if you're an Apple fan, you probably know that one. A variety of different sensors for you to try out, see the different readings. Infinity Cube, examples of LEDs that are diffused and not diffused. I'm a business school professor, so of course, there's money. A lot of hacks going on here. I spent a semester at University of Technology, Sydney when I was on sabbatical. You want me to teach abroad? Let me know if you're in a cool place and I don't need to drive. Spend some time with the wonderful people at RMIT in Melbourne as well. My daughter made me this one. After I gave a guest lecture in Ghana, the students in Accra had very kindly given me this kente, which I love. A colleague and I once brewed beer together, and our beer was named Collaborative Consumption, the beer for the sharing economy. So that's it, friends. If you're ever in Chestnut Hill, you're welcome to drop by. Until then, keep hacking.